ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking. Hey, welcome to the couch, Philadelphia. Come on down. I said that we would be all on the couch on MLK Day. I said, hey, there'll be a few minutes left when you're done on Monday. We can all gather around the couch and sing Negro spirituals the way Dr. Martin Luther King would want us to do it. Honor his memory as the entire division. Don't leave nobody out. Come on, everybody, gather around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Turn me, come on, LB, bring that chorus up in the background. Turn me around, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Come on, Law, I need you to fill it up. Turn me around, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. They scored 9 whole points. 9. Hey! They scored 9 whole points. This one I knew they were down bad. They had a chance to kick the extra point. Bucs jump off sides. And look, all year long, the brotherly shove has been automatic. So they thinking, hey, we about to get us an extra point that we weren't going to get just 5 seconds ago. Let's go ahead and do that. So Sirianni's confident. Hey, two. Dallas goes and grabs his lid. Everybody's going back out on the field. They think they about to get these 2 points, cut it to a 5-point game, change everything, right? And the Bucs shut that shit down. That's what I said. Uh-oh. Y'all in trouble. And this, I should have known when they came out and ran the ball in the first 2 plays, and I don't think I saw another run for like the next 2 or 3 possessions. I said, Brian Johnson, stay blessed, bro. Don't ever change. Matter of fact, don't fire nobody. Bring everybody back. Round of drinks for the whole crew. Johnson, whoever your defensive coordinator is now, I stopped keeping track after you changed like 6 times. Keep him or them. Keep the head coach. Hey, I got drinks. Everybody on me, right? Keep everybody the same. Don't change nothing because this defense is ass. This offense is garbage. Without A.J. Brown, boy, it was tough to watch. It was the Devontae Smith show. What happened to all that depth Eagles fans tried to tell us about all year long? Zacchaeus, Julio, I told you he wasn't Julio when he came to town. They knocked him out the game. That was a fumble too, by the way. They should have challenged that, but that's no here nor there. Boy, Quez Watkins. Remember they tried to argue me down about Quez Watkins. Yeah, how's that working out for you? Man, that was fun. That was a fun weekend, even though we didn't get really any competitive games other than last night's contest between the Lions and the Rams. Everything else was pretty much a blowout. And this game was closer, obviously, than the score indicates. Got away from them a little bit later on in the game, but still, they lost worse than the damn Cowboys. But let's be honest. Cowboys were down 41-16 at home. So at the end of the day, it's all the same, right? Cowboys end up making it look a little bit more competitive, lose by 16. They get beat up by 23, 32-9. It's all the same, right? You know, Troy Aikman said something that was very profound to me at the end of this game. He says, you know what? When you lose in the first round of the playoffs, you're no different than New England or Carolina or one of these other teams out there that didn't make the playoffs. All you did was play in an extra game. You know what? Damn right. They ain't no better than us. Yeah, we went 0-6 in the division. I don't give a shit. You ain't no better than us. You scored 9 whole points against the Bucs. Get the hell out of my face. This is going to be a fun offseason to watch them crumble because I said this. And from now on, just call me Lustradamus, okay? Just call me Lustradamus. That's it. Because I said, hey, both y'all going to be on the couch with us singing Negro spirituals on Monday, on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I said, if Baker Mayfield is healthy, and he looked healthy tonight, I said, if he's healthy, give me the Bucs. I didn't think he would be healthy. All it was going to take was one hit on that ankle, one hit to the ribs, and he could be right back to where he was prior to, the game getting underway. But it never happened. He did get stepped on, but it was his good ankle. So he was fine. They never really got pressure on Baker, like serious pressure. They sacked him once or twice, sure, especially on some third downs that knocked them out of field goal range. But Baker was pretty comfortable back there for the most part. And something else that I said is, I told LB, I said, bro, the most disheartening thing I watched in that Giants game in Week 18 to wrap up your season was y'all looked like y'all had never seen a blitz before. And then he proceeds to go on this long tirade after I had already talked about why my offensive coordinator was trash. He proceeds to go on this long tirade about how his offensive coordinator doesn't know how to adjust to the blitz and how they got these long developing routes down the field and they don't run the football enough and they're not getting the ball in the hands of their playmakers like DeAndre Swift. And I looked at him with this incredulous look like, you can't be serious right now, right? You joshing, right? You kidding. You didn't just say what I think you just said with a straight face. You literally just said exactly what I said, damn near verbatim about my offensive coordinator, and I was making excuses and we were trash. And you're saying the same thing about your coordinator, and you want me to have some sympathy for you? Give me a break. But, I mean, we saw it firsthand. I said, what do you think Todd Bowles is going to do to you? Like, Todd Bowles is one of the top blitzing defensive coordinators, play callers in the NFL. Has been, always will be. And if they watch the film from last week, what do you think they're going to do? Todd was disrespectful tonight. That shit he did tonight, I'm going to say that the disrespect stemmed from no A.J. Brown. That's what I'm going to say. Because he knew there was nobody other than Devontae Smith that could beat him. Bro, do you know how many zero blitzes they called with no safety help? Just that, you know how brazen that is? That's as brazen as me telling LB, hey, we showing up at your door, 1:00 p.m. We showing up in the truck, walking into your front door and banging on the door with all the guns in our hands. And when you ask us who's at the door, it's just us and the guns. Broad daylight. Everybody got ring cams these days. I don't care. That's how brazen Todd Bowles was with the blitzes. He was disrespectful. They blitzed on almost every single passing play. It was a clinic on how you disrespect another team's offense and show no regard for them being able to beat you and make you pay for blitzing. You know why? Because you got a dodo for an offensive coordinator that doesn't understand. And Troy Aikman's like calling it out all night. The same shit I've been saying about Eric Bieniemy all year. You take advantage of the blitz with quick plays, either screen game or slants, anything breaking in over the middle, right? Easier throw for your quarterback. And usually when there's all-out pressure, there's no middle of the field help. There's no middle of the field defender. And if there is, he's playing deep. You got all this space to operate and maneuver with, and you running out breaking routes. You're running 15-yard routes. There was one play they showed on the all-22s, and the Bucs are coming with about a 6 or 7-man pressure, and every receiver is running 12, 13 yards down the field on 3rd and 6. Make it make sense. I mean, I watched it with my team all year long, so I know the pain and the frustration, but make it make sense. I mean, you can't be any more. You can't be any more. Oh, the word that I want to use is escaping me right now. I'll just go with negligent. That's not the word I was looking for, but you can't be any more negligent as a play caller when the defensive and like Troy Aikman said, they weren't trying to disguise the blitz. It's not like Todd Bowles was being exotic and guys were coming from all over the place and they were walking up and they were standing all around. Like, bro, you could identify blitz pre-snap, like who's coming and everything. They weren't trying to hide it. And the Eagles had no answers for it. How many free hitters did we see tonight? How many guys did we see coming off the edge that they couldn't account for? And Hurts has to get rid of it quickly. And don't get me started on the tackling. I mean, we'll get to all of that when we get to Philadelphia. Let's start by talking about Tampa Bay. To the victors go the spoils. Buccaneers get it done. 32-9 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Advance to the divisional round as the 4 seed. Well, they'll be taking on the 3-seeded Detroit Lions in the divisional round on the road. Should be a fun matchup. These two teams played earlier in the regular season, and it was actually a solid contest. That was the game with the big block down the sideline that everybody remembers, but the Bucs hung in that game, so that might not be as decisive a victory as you may think if the Bucs show up and do the things that they did in the regular season contest. Anyway, tonight, I thought it was a really good job. Let's start with Danny Canales, because not a lot of people know his name, and I've been impressed with him this season because this was not the easiest gig to clean up. When he was given a tough task as being a play caller for the first time in the NFL, he was given a tough task. Take the worst rush offense from the year prior, make them a formidable rush offense, and then clean up Baker Mayfield while you're at it. So essentially, don't force Baker to have to win the game by himself by running the football, except I'm giving you the worst rush offense from the year prior. And I'm not making too many wholesale changes, right? It's pretty much the same cast of characters. We'll give you a more spry back, all right? He was there last year, but White now is your primary back. There's no more playoff Lenny or any of that shit. And while you're at it, clean up Baker Mayfield too. That's a tough ask, which is why everybody thought the Bucs would stink this year. And while they weren't good at running the ball, still dead last again this year, they didn't stop trying to run the football. Right? Like the Eagles, they just give up. They just stop running it. They just have no regards for running the football. Some coordinators drive me insane with that. Like, I don't understand what you think this is, but it's tough to win in this league when there's no commitment to the run game whatsoever. And again, there was no commitment to the run game tonight from the Philadelphia Eagles. But and you know, in their defense, when they did try to run, wasn't a lot of success either. They had maybe 2 good hits. The first run of the game was a nice little 7-8 yard run. Then they had the little 17-yard run at the end of the game when the game was no longer in the balance. But whatever the case may be, Canales has done a really good job, and I thought he did a really good job of play calling tonight. I like the looks that they got for Baker. I like how they ran the football. I like how they came out and attacked. This is the Eagles defense that is very suspect on the back end. James Bradbury has turned into one of the greatest thieves we've seen of the last 5 to 7 years in Philadelphia. I mean, that's fantastic what he's doing. That man aged overnight. I mean, damn. He can't run. He can't tackle. Well, damn, what can you do now? But I loved how they attacked them early in this game. You know, they mixed in a couple runs here and there with Rachaad White, but the goal early was to attack the secondary. And if you could, attack those linebackers in particular. And they did that throughout the game with the tight ends. I I was told by Eagles fans that the linebackers were fine. I called them mid in week 2. I called them mid, and people told me I was crazy. They're actually playing really well. I called them mid again when we met after week 4 or leading up to week 4. I called them mid again in week 8, and they told, oh, they're actually playing well. Okay, cool. There's a reason Zach Cunningham was available for you, and there's a reason Nicholas Morrow has already been on like 3 or 4 NFL teams. Good for you, though. Maybe you found something. They're not better than the linebackers you had last year. I can tell you right now, they're not better than TJ Edwards, not better than Kaiser White. Tell you that right now. But that's no here and there. Hey, you got the best GM in the league, right? Howie Roseman. I mean, I'll figure that shit out, right? No worries. D-line was kicking ass last year, right? Almost set the single season record for most sacks in a year. Where did those boys go? Damn. Where did all the pass rush go? Damn, where did the pass rush go? Because I thought you drafted all of these Georgia studs that were supposed to elevate the pass rush. I see Derek Barnett getting busy out in Houston. Where y'all pass rush at? Thought that they did a really good job of mixing it up. And, if not for some of the drops, like he said, and the Mike Evans drop was a big one, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. They scored a touchdown on that drive. So it's not like it cost them points. But there were opportunities definitely in the game that, guys dropped the football. Kate Otten was wide open over the middle of the field, dropped the football. Mike Evans had another opportunity down to the left sideline on a pass that he could have caught. So there were definitely opportunities missed by the Buccaneers that could have really made this game a lot more lopsided heading into halftime than what it was. But when it's all said and done, I thought they did a really good job of staying balanced, really having success on the early downs. It wasn't very often that we saw Tampa Bay in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. Not that it matters, not that the Eagles get stops in 3rd and 10 and 12 and 14 anyway. They're one of the worst 3rd down and long defenses in the league this season. So not that matters, but that's where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are most comfortable, in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, like most teams, but more so for them because of how their offenses run. They're a lot more comfortable in those short yardage situations, and they were very successful, especially early in the game, on converting on those 3rd downs. But I just thought it was a well-called game. And then, of course, the broken tackles, the run after catch, the physicality with which they played on offense. The Eagles never matched that physicality at all, and you made them pay for it. And that's what you're supposed to do. The run after the catch was crazy tonight. The yards after contact, or if there was contact on some of these plays, I mean, in some of these instances, in two-hand touch or even flag, they would have scored touchdowns on the Eagles. It was such a bad performance from a tackling standpoint. But I thought offensively they did a really good job. And what's crazy is they did a lot of the damage early without really having any of their big guys, Godwin or Evans, really have a factor, being a factor in the game. It was really more so the tight ends and the running backs that were really carrying the load early. And then, you get Trey Palmer involved, and then, Godwin late with the touchdown. But it really wasn't what you would expect it to be. I mean, I think David Moore had the first 2 big catches of the game, including the touchdown, right? So it wasn't the guys that you expected, but ultimately, they got Evans involved late in 1st and 20, and they throw a 19-yard back shoulder fade to him. Godwin on the touchdown pass. So eventually they got to their plus wide receivers, but it was just an all-around balanced performance offensively. And the thing I love the most is they didn't turn it over. The Eagles needed them to do, like the way the Eagles are playing right now, they needed help. You can't turn it over. You can't, like, the reason they lost to the Eagles in week 3 of the season was Tampa Bay turned it over. Hurts had some turnovers in that game, but Baker's were way more backbreaking. And so they eliminated the turnovers. Baker tried to throw one. He tried to throw a pick. But they eliminated the turnovers, took care of the football. And another thing that was huge that I don't know if it got mentioned enough, I think they did mention it on the telecast at one point, but the field position was slanted heavily in the favor of the Buccaneers. They kept the Eagles pinned inside their own 15-yard line for most of the night. specifically pretty much the entire third quarter, because the Bucs weren't doing much of anything on offense. They kept getting the ball in great field position. They'd get 1 or 2 first downs, stall out around midfield. Baker would take a bad sack and they'd punt. And not one time did their punter kick the bitch into the end zone and give them a touchback and let them get out to the 20. No, they were fair catching that thing at the 9, at the 10, at the 11. And every one of their drives started right in that same neighborhood. And then they tried to run it, and Gainwell ran backwards, and Levante David tackled him at like the 2 or 3 yard line. And then they got the safety on Jalen Hurts. And it was that field position battle that they were able to win consistently throughout the night. And I think they said at one point the Eagles did not start a single possession at that time past the 25-yard line. And everything was really inside the 15. So kudos to the Bucs special teams as well for playing that field position game, not giving up a big return, not kicking the ball into the end zone, but making the Eagles drive the length of the field, something that they were incapable of doing without A.J. Brown. Defensively, I thought it was a clinic on how to abuse a team that has no idea how to pick up the blitz or has no answers for it. Todd Bowles coached circles around the Eagles staff, and he didn't even do much. He literally just said, hey, y'all got an empty set. We're going to overload one side. You're going to slide the protection to pick it up, and I'm going to get a free hitter off this side. And I'm only rushing 5. I might come with 6. There were times where he went cover 0 and came with 7, and he did that at least 3 or 4 times, maybe even 5 times throughout the night. But a lot of it was, hey, we just going to overload the side because you empty. It's not like you got a back or an extra or a tight end in. You empty, which is a dodo move by your offensive coordinator when you know you've been getting heavy pressure. If you're not going to get it out of your quarterback's hands quickly, it's a dodo move to not have somebody back there to help him. So that's why you kept seeing those free hitters. We're going to overload the left. Well, now you got to slide protection to the left. Lucky. Now you got to slide it to the left. Here comes a guy scot-free off the edge on the right side. Overload the right. Here comes a guy scot-free off the left, because that tackle, you always see that tackle and like, why isn't he doing anything? You're always taught to block down. When they slide protection, you're now blocking the MDM, the most dangerous man. The most dangerous man is the guy with the quickest path to the quarterback. Quickest path to the quarterback is straight up the field, right? North. They say north and south. I hate that because that means you're running forward and backwards. Just north, straight, right? Boom. And so from point A to point B is the fastest route to the quarterback. So you pinch down and you pick that guy up. You allow the guy, just like on extra points and field goals, you never let penetration, you never let somebody go free up the middle, because that's the closest path to the football. You try to get a piece of that dude on the edge, just enough to slow him down, because he ain't gonna get there in time, right? Unless he takes the tightest of angles and has the ridiculous dive like he's on a video game, he ain't making it in time to block it. So you turn that guy loose, MDM. And that's all they did. They forced the Eagles to slide the protection, and somebody was coming scot-free. And it was a masterclass. They had no answers. They made the Eagles look pedestrian on offense because they were lacking weapons. And I flat out asked LB, how healthy are you guys? Because I'm telling you right now, if Baker Mayfield's healthy and you're not winning this game. And he said, oh, yeah, no. And he said, but he didn't know. He was just at the time guessing. He didn't know. But we knew Smitty was going to play because he missed week 18. And so he knew but I was like, hey, no way, A.J. Brown, similar to T.J. Watt. When you have an injury like that to your knee, it's no way you're playing the next week. And once A.J. Brown didn't play, now you're asking all these dudes who just aren't capable of carrying the load, right? Now you're looking for Quintorris Jones. Now you're looking for Quez Watkins and Olamide Zaccheaus to step up. These guys aren't going to step up and do anything. Nobody's afraid of them. I mean, that's why the Bucs were so disrespectful with the blitz tonight. Thought they did a great job of stopping the run for the most part, deterring them, because, look, there were some nice hits in the run game, but the Eagles didn't run it a lot. But when they did try to establish a run, they shut that shit down for the most part. There's nowhere to go. They tackled extremely well. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in terms of tackling for the two teams. One was at one end of the spectrum in Tampa, just everything that moved, they were hitting it. And then the other team looked like they wanted no parts of contact. They were contact averse in this game. So it was like watching two different teams coming in, and the Eagles looked lifeless. They looked like a dead team walking. They looked like they were not in sync with one another. I loved every second of it because you can't buy a championship and you can't be cheap. You know, sometimes you just got to pay dudes. You had something last year and you let too many guys walk for not even a lot of money. And I get it. You drafted guys that you think could come in, but y'all had something. I already told you the window is closed. You had your shot. You went 10-1 2 years in a row for the first time in franchise history. This was your window. You blew it. Shit's closed now. Looking forward to seeing how disastrous this gets because, we just getting started. The offseason is just getting started. The couch is just getting full. We just start singing Negro spirituals and freedom fighting civil rights songs together for the first time as a complete division. Shit's just getting started. I already started my process, right? I got an early jump. I didn't go to the playoffs to get my ass whooped. Instead, I started working on improving for next year. So I got a head start on all of y'all. Dallas has a decision to make, whether they're going to fire their head coach. Probably going to happen. Eagles got a decision to make, whether they're going to fire their head coach or their defensive coordinators, their offensive coordinator, whatever. Go ahead, man. Figure that shit out. I'll be over here just waiting in the wings. Ha! Ha! Let's talk about the Eagles real quick, man. I'm going to get to the comment section and let y'all have it. So it started off ominous for them. They had a chance to get off the field on an early third down. And again, they were already in field goal range. And they ultimately only gave up a field goal. So it's not as big of a deal. And I said that on the overtime, Wildcard Weekend overtime for Bills and Steelers. We were on at the very beginning of that game. And the Bucs were on their first drive, the opening drive. And just as an aside, before I forget, the team who scored first on Wildcard Weekend went 6-0. Undefeated, sparkling 6-0 for the teams that scored first in Wild Card Weekend. So there was something to be said about winning the toss and electing to receive as Green Bay did and marching it right down the field. Or in the case of the Buffalo Bills, not winning the toss, or winning the toss and deferring to the second half and then getting a stop and then marching down the field and scoring a touchdown. Whatever the case may be, if you score it first, you win the game. Eagles obviously didn't score first. The Bucs marched it down the field, kicked a field goal, but there was poor tackling on that first possession, and that was a sign of things to come. So that's been one of the issues down the stretch for Philadelphia, poor tackling. Another issue, and I don't know how much Rachaad White ran for, because the numbers weren't great at first, but then as the game progressed, he started to get into a better rhythm, and he started to have more and more success. And I think those numbers probably ended up being pretty solid. I know you get to the end of the game, and they know you're running the ball because you're just trying to run the clock out. Doesn't always help your numbers. But 18 carries for 72 yards. The Bucs will take that all day long. That's 4 yards a pop right on the head. They'll take that all day, every day. So I thought they were able to run the football. That was something else that has become really problematic for the Eagles down the stretch of the season is they can't stop the run. They drafted all these guys on the defensive line. We heard so much about it. I told them early in the season, I don't notice these dudes. When we played the Eagles, and remember, our offensive line was not great. When we played the Eagles in week 4, our offensive line was not great. We just came off a game in which we gave up 9 sacks. We had given up the most sacks to start a season in NFL history. Our offensive line was not fine going into that week 4 game. I didn't even know those two dudes played in that game. Jordan Davis was never a pass rusher. He was always a run stopper. But Jalen Carter is supposed to be the one that is supposed to be able to get to the quarterback. And he can. He's actually really good. But they just weren't effective. They just didn't do anything in this game. They didn't stop the run effectively enough. They didn't get to Baker Mayfield nearly enough. so I think it starts up front with them. The lack of tackling, the lack of pressure. You're not stopping the run consistently. So the Bucs are in manageable down and distances, whether it's 2nd and 6 after a 4-yard run on first down, or it's 2nd and 5, or, you allow them to get to a 3rd and 2, a 3rd and 1, or they just run for a first down, or run for a first down on 2nd and 7, right? They just had too much success on the ground throughout the evening. So I thought that was another problem for Philadelphia. And then the funniest thing watching their offense without AJ Brown is the missing element of the slant. You know how often that they run the slant to AJ Brown? You know how big of a staple that is? And there were times where I thought that Jalen Hurts should have pulled the trigger on those little slants, those little in routes that they run, but he just didn't trust those guys like he trusts AJ Brown. And the Eagles were 0 for on 3rd downs. I wonder if they got a 3rd down conversion late in this game. Because at one point they were 0 for 9. They ended up 0 for 9 in the game on 3rd downs. Meanwhile, the Bucs were 6 of 14, which is, like I told you, and one of those was at the end of the game where they ran it 3 times in a row and essentially conceding. They were really good on 3rd downs because they were in very manageable 3rd down situations throughout the game. So hats off to the Buccaneers defensively, but it's also a sign that the Eagles simply did not have any answers on 3rd downs on either side of the football. They didn't have good play calls, I didn't think, on 3rd downs offensively. They didn't address the blitzing ways of the Buccaneers. You knew you were going to get the draws blitzed off of you. You knew you were going to get your doors blitzed off. And you didn't have a plan. But that's the shit that's alarming. That's where I draw the line. And as a fan of a team that I literally watched my offensive coordinator systematically fail us week in and week out, especially against blitz happy teams. That shit looked all too familiar to me. I know what it looks like. That shit was disgusting to watch. It was great to watch, but it's disgusting because it brings back bad memories for me. But then to make matters worse, I thought that there were some opportunities that were missed by the Eagles, whether it was penalties, poor play calling, because this game could have been like, with all the wasted field position that Tampa Bay had, for this game to be what it was at halftime, which was 16-9, for this game to be a 1-score game with as badly as Philadelphia played, are you kidding me? At halftime, I was like, they're going to mess around and let Philly win this game. They ain't serious about winning this game because they should have been killing these boys. The Eagles are playing like ass right now. And you scored on your first 4 possessions of the game. Like, the Eagles could not get off the field. On the first 4 possessions, the Bucs were moving the ball down the field. They just couldn't finish the drives, right? But it was 3 field goals. So I was like, y'all messing around. But that safety was huge because it was 16-9 for a very long time. Very long time. And that safety, and Hurts can't take that safety. He can't do it. You got to understand, bro, it's over. Chuck that bitch out of bounds. Live to fight another day. You can't take that safety, bro, because who knows when Tampa Bay would have scored again. You got to force them to score on their own because it was a 1-score game. Like, literally, you scored a touchdown. You could have gone for 2 to take the lead, or you could have just kicked the extra point and tied it up at 16. Like, they were stuck. They were stuck. And that safety opened up the floodgates. The game was really never the same after that. That gave Tampa Bay the confidence they needed to run away and hide, because now we up 2 scores now. We can exhale a little bit. Then they scored the touchdown, missed tackle by Bradbury. What a bum he's turned into. He's definitely gone this offseason. He can't run, and now he can't tackle all of a sudden. And Hurts looked perplexed. He I be wondering sometimes because he looks the same every time a teammate's talking to him. He's got that blank stare, like, I don't know why you're talking to me. I ain't listening to you. I don't give a shit what you're talking about. Like Dallas Goedert gets up and he says something to him, and I don't even know if Hurts even looked at him. Hurts was just looking straight, like Hurts might have looked up at him and went, like he don't even engage in that stuff. It'd be funny, like AJ Brown be all riled up and demonstrative, and Jalen Hurts is just like, that's the Jalen Hurts look. And I guess they be wanting some sort of emotion out of him, and you're just not gonna get it. Like, it was man, it's just fun to watch the Eagles squirm. Fun to watch Dallas just have their hopes up, and because the Eagles knew, their fan base already knew they won't win and shit. They thought they would beat Tampa Bay at least. And then, you know, if they would have beaten the Bucs, all of a sudden now they realize, they start smelling themselves. Hey, we just 2 games away from the NFC Championship game or Super Bowl, and 1 from the NFC Championship game. All we got to do is go to Detroit and find a way to win. But they knew they could see the warning signs, right? It took them a while. Like, they had to lose, 4 out of 5 for them to realize, hey, we asked for real. It took them a while, but they got there eventually. Dallas fans, though, after they beat us up, they start sticking out their chest and shit. That was fun because they're so gullible. They're so stupid. Cowboys fans are so dumb, right? Not all of them. Some of them. Shout out to my guy, John Cedillo. Not all of them are dum-dums, but they're so gullible, man. Right? Every year. As a wise man used to say to me, every year. They fall for the same banana in the tailpipe. It's like Lucy putting the ball down and the Cowboys, like Lucy putting the ball down. The ball is a Super Bowl, right? It's almost like they come. You know what the Cowboys remind me of? They remind me of the State Farm commercial or Progressive commercial, which I can't remember. The one with the old guy. He's got the dollar on the fishing hook on the, and she tries to get. He said, "Oh, you can't get it. Go get the dollar. Oh, he's too slow." They every year they go after that Super Bowl. Hey, it's right there. You can get it. Come on. Oh, you're too slow. Hey, and they fall for it every year. Every year they fall for the same shit. They get hyped up off of some garbage regular season wins, win about 11, 12 games, and this is the year. And this one had extra sauce on it because they finally put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Fame. So you had a lot of these bozos out here talking about, well, this is the year because the curse is lifted because they finally did the right thing and put Jimmy Johnson. And I told Boss, and Boss always agrees with me when we have these conversations. Boss says, I told Boss, I said, y'all ain't winning a damn thing until Jerry Jones is no longer your owner. And he said, yeah, you're right. He said, the only thing I'm scared about is this damn son might be just as bad, if not worse. I said, well, that's your problem, not mine. All right. Good thing for us is there was no one for Daniel Snyder to pass this shit to. Right. We just wanted his ass gone, and he's gone. But, Jerry's going to run this thing into the ground. And when he's gone, he's going to pass it to Steven, and Steven is just as clueless. Now, Jerry's a hell of a businessman. Don't get it twisted, right? But when it comes to being meddlesome and thinking some shit and wanting all the credit, that he can't get out of his own way. They won't win a damn thing as long as he's the owner. I'm trying to Al Davis his ass and keep him around for about another 20, 25 years. Let his ass live as long as he can. Because as long as he's alive, they ain't winning a mother effing thing. Or as a wise man wants to say, a damn thing. They ain't winning a damn thing. So it was fun to watch them get their bubble burst again. And then see Eagles fans get all excited like they was about to do something. And now their ass is on the couch with us singing. Like I told them they was going to be doing. Oh, you know, I'm going to say something to them the next time we get the fellas together for the NFC Super Friends. Oh, you know, I'm going to talk that talk. Because I tried to warn them. I tried to talk some sense into them. They ain't want to listen to me. They never want to listen to me until it's too late. Till I got to go in my damn pocket and reach out and pull out the I told you so. They'll never want to listen until it's too late. Well, we got him. Come on. Come on, sit down. Right here. Right on the couch. We can watch Detroit and the team that beat you, and we can watch San Francisco and the team that beat you. Come on. Got seats for both of y'all. Giants, scoot over a little bit more. Dallas always likes to sit right here on my left side. Anyway, I digress. Should be a fun offseason. Watching these two teams that we hate so much with such a vigorous passion having to make some decisions. I'm shocked that we're even here with Nick Sirianni. I still don't think he should be fired. There's a lot that went wrong fundamentally to finish up this season, but that man just took you to the Super Bowl. Like, that's crazy if they fire him. But I've seen stranger things. And like Joe Buck said, they've got one of those owners like David Tepper and Jeffrey Lurie, who's not very patient. And so we'll see. You know, he doesn't like to be embarrassed, and finishing up loses a 6 out of 7 and starting the season off 10-1 and not being able to get to 12 wins. That's pretty hard to do. I mean, that's really hard to do. So changes could be coming. I'm ready. I'm ready, boss. Line them up. Jason Rogers, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Uncle Jay, writes, it's all smiles, bro. It's all smiles. Don't you just love it? Jonathan Hankey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jonathan, writes, the best Eagles coach is on the Colts right now, LOL. I told them. They didn't want to listen to me, though. I told them they was going to miss more than anybody else, Shane Steichen. And Lloyd Brunson told me, oh, no, Jalen Hurts, they promoted Brian Johnson, the quarterback coach. He's known him since high school. I said, oh, okay. That's cool, man. That's what's up. Hey, now you want him gone. Thought they was going to miss a lot of those players. They're like, nah, we good. Okay. Barry Downing, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, BD. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, LB, we knew you wouldn't disappoint. So come on over and no more of that chitlin Parmigiano like last year, LOL. So you switched it up on me tonight. It wasn't a potato salad. You talking about chitlins. I don't mess with that stuff. I'll let y'all have that. Yuck. Yeah. Junior Nando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Junior Nando writes, okay, I'm back to reality. I just hope we don't lose that bad to the 49ers, but this season is a success. Wow. Dallas and Philly really got blown out. Fire Eagles head coach. I don't know. Like that, I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that Mike McCarthy is getting fired in Dallas. Now, what's going to happen to Nick Sirianni in Philly? Don't know. That's a great question. Because they may just attack the staff and get rid of all of them, but they could just go after the head honcho and go after Nick Sirianni, and all of those dudes just go. So could be like Dallas, a total cleaning of the house, because I don't see Dan Quinn coming back in Dallas after that performance defensively either. So he looks like he's going to pack his things. He probably overstayed his welcome anyway. I told him, bro, get out while the getting is good. You never want to end like that. But I liken it to Mike Brown. And I know a lot of y'all won't understand this, but I liken it to Mike Brown. And he had already gotten the Sacramento Kings job. And he was the interim coach for the Warriors when Steve Kerr was out, and he did a horrible job. They got cooked. And people were like, man, can the Kings take their, job offer back from him? And he turned out to do a fantastic job with the Kings. We see what they've become under his leadership. And so I kind of feel the same way about Dan Quinn, but it's a bad look for a dude that's looking to get a gig. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you're going to lose that bad. I think you're actually going to compete, because I think the 49ers, similar to Washington's defensive line, I think it's overrated. And I think if you can do what you did to Dallas's pass rush, which was neutralize it, I think you're going to be in that football game. Because for real, the 49ers don't really get pressure on the quarterback for real. They don't. So you're going to have an opportunity. The key is because now you're playing against a much better secondary. The Cowboys secondary is okay. It's not great. The 49ers are a much tighter unit. Their linebackers are way better. So the windows aren't going to be as open. So it'll be interesting. And they're not going to let you run the football on them like Dallas did. So I don't think you're going to get blown out, but it may not be that close at the end, but I think it's a competitive game, right? So we'll see what happens. Matthew, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I got Matthew writes, Eagles pop gun offense. Hello from Manila, LT. Hey, I appreciate you, Matthew. I appreciate you greatly. That's that pop gun offense right there for you, right? Can't even score more than 9 points. Couldn't even make it to double digits. Embarrassing. Was that the least amount of points? No, the Dolphins scored 7. But at least theirs was understandable. They played in negative 28 degrees below freezing, or below zero, excuse me. Meanwhile, you were playing in ideal temperatures in Tampa, Florida. Just no excuse for that. That was some nasty work. Spicy Kicks Hawaii. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, you were right, Lou. 2 blowouts this weekend for the NFC East fam. Feels good, feels good. I didn't think they would get blown out. I thought they could lose. I really did think they could both lose. I didn't think they would lose, but I thought they could lose. Like, I don't think anybody on the panel thought they could lose this game but me. Like, I think Law expected to beat the Packers, and I was the only one that told him. Everybody laughed when I said, the great Dr. Martin Luther King said that there was only one thing that can conquer hate, right? Only love can conquer hate. I gave him a chance to guess. He tried to laugh at me. I said love, and they all looked at me like, bro, you really think Jordan Love? And then his response, if you recall, was, he ain't Aaron Rodgers, is he? I said he's pretty damn close. And a lot of Cowboys fans couldn't even tell if it was AR-12 out there or not. Eagles, on the other hand, we knew there was a chance they could get beat, and they did. Fat American, been a member for 20 months. Really appreciate you. Fat American writes, Lou, what a wonderful weekend. Beautiful day. Always good to see a couple of your closest family members come join you on the couch, man. Don't keep me waiting. And I told them on the Super Friend stream, y'all ain't going to keep us waiting this year. Last year, even the Giants kept us waiting for. We were lonely. Lonely. We're so lonely. We had nobody on the couch. We had nobody on the couch with us. Giants ain't get there till after the divisional round. Cowboys joined them not too long thereafter, the very next day or something like that. And then we had to wait until after the Super Bowl. We had to sweat it out with the Eagles. I said, there will be none of that this year. We'll all be here on Dr. Martin Luther King Day. What a beautiful weekend it was. Not just a beautiful day, beautiful weekend. Miggy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Miggy writes, 2023 season, Washington won the East. New GM, clean house, and second pick. I feel good about where we are, but we gotta. The work starts now, as a wise man once said. The work starts now. So we got the GM. We'll get the coach. We'll work on this roster. We'll figure out who needs to be back, who doesn't, and then we'll get to work. I like where we sit. If you ask me right now who has the brightest future of all the teams in the division, I'm biased, but I'm going to say it's us. Now, if you don't have a quarterback, you ain't got shit. But that's how I feel right now. I mean, the Cowboys, they'll still be Super Bowl contenders, especially if they get a coach that people really respect. They'll be Super Bowl contenders again next year. Eagles, not so much. I really think the Eagles' window's closed. I think they really effed up. They had a shot. They'll never get that swag back that they had last year. They'll never get that back again. Kelsey looked like he might have been done too. I don't know if y'all peeped game on that. He went to it. And, obviously when you're in the moment and, everything, all your emotions are fresh and they're raw. You can't ever kind of judge that. Aaron Rodgers walked off the field last year and everybody thought that was his last time playing football. I was like, he's a drama. He likes the attention. He's playing football next year. But you just never know, right? He hugged his offensive line coach, Jeff Stoutland, and he looked like a guy that was like, man, I don't feel like doing this shit no more, But we'll see. You get away for a few weeks, you kind of let it settle down, and it gets close to the season. I think he's gonna play again. I don't think he's done. I don't. It ended so poorly though that he might be like, because it's easy to come back when you're that close, like they were last year. And then when they started 10-1, and they lost in the championship game of the divisional round, he might have been able to convince himself, hey, we close. But to get mocked by the Buccaneers again for the second time in 3 years in the playoffs in Wildcard Weekend, I don't think he feels like he's any closer to winning the chip. So he might just hang it up. Abad Shameen, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, you guys should have another Super Friends streams now that everyone's eliminated. Would be hilarious. Well, we got one in I guess it's 3 weeks from now. We might be able to push it up. I'll check with the fellas, but it ain't gonna be this week. It'll probably be next week if we push it up, but it's supposed to be the last Wednesday of the month. So we'll see what happens. But it's fresh right now, so that would be great. But you gotta let them simmer down. Like, y'all want the smoke immediately. Just think about it if it was you and your favorite team just got cooked in the playoffs and you had high expectations for them. I don't know if you'd be like, look, when our season died in week 7 to the Giants, I mourned for 48 hours. Like, literally by Wednesday, I was talking to the Super Friends and we were playing the Eagles that week. And LB was like, you trying to do a video? And I was like, I'll do a video. I don't have nothing to say though, bro. I'm just like, I'm mourning the loss of a season. I've been hyping this season up for 4 months in the offseason, into the preseason. You go undefeated. You start the season 2-0, and I'm on cloud 9 after the Broncos win. And 5 weeks later, my shit is over. I'm mourning right now, bro. I'm hurt. I need some time. But I'll go on the stream with you. I told him I'll post. I just don't have nothing to say right now. And that's kind of, I would have to imagine that's how Law and LB feel right now. They're pissed off. I'll give them 2 weeks, and LB will be talking that shit again. It ain't no different than Debo and Smokey. When he here, I'll be quiet. But when he leave, I'll be talking again. LB right now, because they just lost, yeah, he going to be quiet. But give him a few weeks, he'll be talking again. And just like I was. So you just got to give people a little bit of space in these types of. I know y'all don't want to give any space. Y'all want to press them, right? Full court. And I'm not mad at you for that. But I live by the mantra, do unto others as you would like it to be done to you, right? I'm not going to press somebody in a moment like this because I wouldn't like being pressed in a moment like this. So anyway, y'all don't give a damn about nothing I'm talking about right now. And I'm not mad at y'all for that. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Oh, wait, actually, this is your first super. Who writes? And thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Eagles fans saw it coming and had to resort to blocking people on probably X, laughing my ass off, talking all that mess on X after Dallas lost. Now they don't want to hear it. I saw that coming a mile away. That was like a fastball that won't fast. Like, oh hell, I'm about to crush this joint. Eagles fans was going in on Kyle, and I told LB he was going to do that. Like, really go in, because they really expected to beat Tampa. They, even with all their dysfunction, it's just Tampa. And I was like, you can't pick up a blitz. And if Baker Mayfield isn't as hurt, because the Baker I saw in week 18 finished that game, ain't no way he was beating Philadelphia tonight. That dude could barely move because he had sprained his ankle. And that brother, his ribs were hurting him. Like Troy Aikman said, he underthrew some passes in that game. Like, that brother was hurt, and they scored 9 points in that game. Should have lost. But that's not the Baker we saw tonight. He was healthy tonight. So yeah, they thought they was gonna do some work. They didn't think they was gonna get eliminated in the first. You heard the shit LB was talking. Well, you know, I gotta believe in my team. No, you don't. You don't. I gotta believe in my team. They made it to the playoffs. No, you don't have to believe in them. You can acknowledge that they had a solid season. It's disappointing. The finish is going to be disappointing. But you don't have to ride with your team just because. If they stink, say they stink. Anyway, Timothy Santiago, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, hope the fam is doing well, Lou. Likewise, Timothy. Can't believe everybody's gathered on the couch already. Adam Peters in first round embarrassing losses. Gotta love it. I mean, you couldn't have scripted this any better. We hire Peters on Friday. Dallas loses on Sunday. Philadelphia loses on Monday. What more you want? What more you want? Don't get much better than that. What more you want? This one is from Red Wing 01, been a member of the MOBB for 15 months, who writes, can't ask for a better wildcard weekend. Good shit, Baker. You just literally said what I just said. Like, can't ask for a better weekend than what we just had, and definitely good shit, Baker, right? We needed Bake to take care of business, and let Bake cook, man. And Bake was in the kitchen getting it in. I've always liked Baker Mayfield, other than his second season in the league where I thought he got a little too big for his britches and was out of control because of Freddie Kitchens ended up being the head coach that year, who was his boy. Other than that year, I've always liked Baker. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, LOL, man. This was so satisfying to watch, Lou. Yeah, it was. yeah, it was. I mean, yesterday and now today, I mean, boy, it does not get any better than that. This was glorious. Glorious. Jonathan Hankey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou, you must be living on cloud 9 right now after 2 family members enter the slaughterhouse. LOL. I mean, it's nice. It's very enjoyable, but I'd rather be playing playoff ball, right? It's fun to laugh at other teams' demise when you don't have anything to look forward to. And that'll be the thing that they try to point to is your season was already over. That's LB's favorite line, and he's not wrong, right? But I don't care about that. I care that you went on national TV and embarrassed yourself. That's what I want to talk about. So, and you know, they'll rebuttal will be you went 0-6 in the division. You don't even have a head coach right now. I mean, there's so many different ways they can go. I don't care. You lost by 23 points to the Buccaneers and didn't even score 10. Shit, at least Dallas only lost by 16. Yeah, that's funny though, because they was down 41-16 at the crib. Yikes. Yeah, it's fun right now. I ain't gonna lie. I'd much rather be winning though. But I'll take this. This is a nice consolation. Let Drake cook. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, so with the current teams looking for head coaches, do you believe that we could get sniped for any top-notch coaches? And man, Eagles are basically the Cowboys. Let's draft Drake and him and Sam. I'll just say this. When you look at the openings that are out now that we know about, the 8 that are currently available, 7 now because the Patriots have already hired their head coach. I still think we have the most attractive job. When you couple our first round pick, the amount of picks we have in the top 100, the cap space that we have, and like I said, we're not the most talented roster, but we're not desolate from a talent perspective either. When you put all those things together, I still think it's the most attractive job. Now, if Dallas and Philadelphia fire their coaches, that could change. That could change, right? But I still don't see, like, here's the allure of coming to Washington over, say, a Dallas or Philadelphia if they were to relieve their coaches of their duties. Here's the difference. You go to Dallas, and there's a level of expectation that if you don't meet that, we don't give a damn. You're fired. Mike McCarthy won 12 games 3 years in a row. He's about to be fired. Understand what I just said. If you won 12 games 3 years in a row in Washington, we would put you on a damn plaque. You might get a banner in the rafters for that. You might be in the Ring of Fame. Now, you would love playoff success, but just being in that conversation, do you know what we would do for that? The Eagles went to the Super Bowl this time last year. The Eagles were coming off of being the number 1 seed and about to cook 3 teams or 2 teams in a row en route to the Super Bowl. They are thinking about, I don't know if they're actually they're thinking about firing their coach. Think about that. One won 12 games 3 years in a row, and the other went to the Super Bowl last year and lost, and both of them could be fired. Now, which job you want? The one where there's little to no expectations, and I'm not telling you that's a great thing, but what I'm telling you is you'll be more appreciated in Washington, and you're going to be paid handsomely in Washington, probably more handsomely than you would in Philadelphia or Dallas. So you're going to be paid. You got an owner that's going to allow you to do your job, not going to be meddlesome, and you will be in a position to be revered if you turn it around. Whereas in Dallas, we expect you to come in here and win. If you don't, you fire. In Philadelphia, we just fired a dude that took us to the Super Bowl, and a guy that won our only Super Bowl in the cabinet that we have, we fired him 2 years after that. You want to go there? You want to go to Dallas? Or you want to come to Washington? It's your choice. I just think for those reasons, it's a no-brainer to come to Washington instead. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, the great Lustradamus. Prophecy has come to fruition. We saved a seat for you, Eagles. Cry, Eagles, cry. You said there was going to be Cry, Eagles, cry tomorrow, which is today. You were right. HTTC. Love it, Swaggy P. Abel Ambrosio. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Eagles got their meat tenderized real good. Got their meat tenderized real good. Real good. Pause. They did. They did. It was a glorious occasion. Indeed. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, great weekend of Dallas and Philly getting the brakes beat off of them. And watching Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick showing why we need to hire them. They've definitely strengthened their cases to become head coaches. I think both will see themselves be head coaches. if not slow it, definitely Ben Johnson is leaving Detroit this year. This will be it for him. And maybe even Aaron Glenn too. Depends on how he interviews, but his name has clearly come up. Washington had put in a request for him to be interviewed for the job as well. I want to know how many of these requests that Washington has actually put in are they going to actually meet? Like, are they going to actually sit down and have interviews with? Because I felt like we had a request for at least like 10 dudes, and we've only talked to one of them via Zoom. But I mean, I'm hearing Dan Quinn is somebody that is supposed to be rumored to be interested in Washington, and obviously we got both the coordinators in Detroit. Raheem Morris was on the list. Felt like countless other names, that we were taking a hard, long look at. Mike McDonald, et cetera. But when it's all said and done, those two in particular look like they're legit. And I think we'd be happy to have either one of them, but I've been and continue to be a Ben Johnson guy. Big Daddy Butts, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lustradamus. I appreciate that. Devon Ducare, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, you called it, Lou. MLK Day, out laughing my ass off. Both of them trash. I tried to warn them, man. We'd be right here. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I told them we was gonna be on the couch together. They ain't want to hear it though, man. Don't nobody ever want to hear the truth because the truth hurts. Nobody ever wants to hear that. Sovereign Legacy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, seems like EB and that Eagle OC got their playbooks from the same 7-Eleven. Yeah, it was very eerie, man. Watching that shit, it was like, damn, do they got Eric on their sideline or what? Like that this is some real Eric type shit that I'm watching here, but no, it wasn't him. Sovereign Legacy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, sorry, playbook. My bad, LO. I knew what you meant. I made the change seamlessly. A lot of times I can tell what y'all trying to say is when y'all start speaking in tongues. I'll be like, okay, you got me. I don't know what this is. King of the Bluegrass, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Jalen Hurts minus Buddy Ball equals early exit. Bye-bye, egos. Egos. I mean, if it works, right? I mean, that's been their ticket. And you can complain about Buddy Ball all you want, but that's what got you to the Super Bowl last year. Big Daddy Butts, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, pour out a drink for cowgirls and sheagles, Lustradamus. I ain't wasting no drink on them. I'm excited that they lost. I was like, yeah, that right. I was loving it. That's right. Oh, yeah. That's right. Get their ass. I was loving it. It's CD. I always say that. It's DC. I always say CD. It's DC. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. It's DC writes, it's always F the Eagles except Kelsey. Seeing him tear up actually made me feel a bit sad for him. I don't feel bad for anybody on any of those teams. I don't root for any individuals on any of those teams. It's been a hell of a run, and if he's done, first ballot Hall of Famer, he'll be the best center that I've ever watched play. And I've seen some good ones, but no one has ever been the athletic dynamo and play with the physicality and leverage and athleticism all in one package at the center position like Jason Kelsey did. So, but I would not be sad to see him go. He's been kicking our ass for his entire career. So when he decides he's done, good riddance. Sad Giants fan. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Sad Giants fan writes, was literally jumping when they stopped the tush push. Like the great Carl Banks said, jump over the line and destroy the quarterback. Punish them. That was a thing of beauty. And when he almost ripped Hurts' head off of his shoulders, I was like, nah, don't call that shit neither. Like, the Eagles be getting away with so much shit in those piles. It's no holds barred in there. Like, anything that happens in there, you just got to let it be. So when he was ripping his shit, pulling him back, yeah, pull his ass back. Because if you don't, he going to stretch that bitch over the damn goal line and score. I was like, yeah, no, don't call that shit. Derek B, been a member for 28 months. Who writes, at least we made it to the couch? Tenderized. Yeah, they made it to the couch on time to get in a few freedom songs before the clock expired. So it felt good to complete the couch. Loved it. Nick Ransom, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Nick writes, Lou, you put the super friends on notice that they better cash in on their window of opportunity while they can. Then they screwed up now. I tried to warn them. Like, this is it for you, especially Philadelphia. They're not even like an established organization for real. Like, this ain't what they do. Like, Dallas, that's the shit they do. They win 12 games consistently. 11, 13. We've seen them get as high as 13 in this stretch with Romo, or maybe even 14. I think 13-3 was Dak's rookie season. They might have got to 14-2 in 07 with Tony Romo. They might have got to 14-2 before getting beat by the Giants. The Cowboys do this. Whenever they got a quarterback and that quarterback's healthy, that's what they do. They put up 12, 13 wins. They just don't do shit in the playoffs. The Eagles ain't about that life. They just started doing this shit. They just started doing this. And even in doing that, there's like 2 or 3 years in there where they was just downright funky, stank, nasty. So their window is definitely closed. They had a shot. Man, did they blow it. They blew it. We coming now. Like, you got to take advantage of when you got two teams in the dumps. Washington had won 4 or less NFC games in like 4 out of the last 6 years. I believe it was. And this is your opportunity. The Giants stink too. If you're the Eagles, you sweep the Giants every year. And if you sweep in Washington, that's 4 right there. Of late, Dallas has been sweeping the Giants. When Eli was there, they used to fight. Little to no resistance now with Daniel Jones. They sweeping them. And if you sweep in Washington, that's 4 wins right there. You had an opportunity with 2 teams pretty much downtrodden for this long stretch, and you had an opportunity to go get the shit, and you wasted it. And we coming now. Them days of sweeping Washington, them shits is over with. Samuel Hatley, been a member for 27 months. Who writes, what a great weekend. Crisp like a Sprite crayon. Boy, was it ever. Refreshing too. Eric Sunderland, been a member for 4 months. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, same amount of playoff wins as the Cowboys and Eagles. 0. Love it. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Big Money Sonny writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Lou, I think you're right. You said the birds were cooked a few weeks ago. This Philly regime is done. Welcome to the couch. NFC East is eating popcorn with us, and we have hope. Smoke Newports. Mike Jink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Shout out to my guy, Mike Jink. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, if Siri is fired, who would be our candidates? I think you would be looking for an established quarterback or coach. You went with a young, unknown commodity in Nick Sirianni this time around. And I think because he couldn't get you over the hump, you would try to go with somebody that you thought could get you over the hump. So I could see a Belichick. Because, again, he interviewed for Atlanta, and I just don't see that being a great fit for him because he needs a quarterback. And he don't need a rookie quarterback. He needs an established quarterback. Jalen Hurts would be that for him. Dak Prescott would be that for him. I don't see Belichick working for Jerry Jones, though, because his mentor, the guy that he looks up to, the guy that he would call and ask how was working for Jerry Jones, and I'm pretty sure Bill Parcells would tell him, you don't want to work for Jerry Jones. Simple as that. I just can't see him working for Jerry Jones. But I don't know. You get older and shit changes. I don't know. But, I mean, those would be great destinations for Bill Belichick, if you want to be honest. Because he'd take your defense, and with those defensive tackles and the athleticism you have, he'll take your defense and whip it into shape in no time. He'd do some things and draft you some good corners, coach up the ones that you do have, and he'd get the most out of that defense for sure. They wouldn't look like how they look now. I guarantee you that. And I think I insist that wherever he goes, he's probably going to bring Josh McDaniels with him. Repackage him, make him an offensive coordinator again, which is where he belongs. He's not a head coach. He's proven that twice now. But he's a hell of an offensive coordinator. So I think Belichick would be in play. Raheem Morris, somebody like that would be in play for y'all probably as well. And then I think you would be looking at the Ben Johnsons and the, Aaron Glenn's and Mike McDonald from Baltimore. Like those, you're going to go after those type of candidates too. Like those top tier, first time opportunity candidates like you did with Sirianni, Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. All right, it's real talk, Lou. Watch the game, play some pool, sip some fine whiskey. Really just looked like they didn't want it the rest of the way now. Popcorn the rest of the way now. Now we can just sit back, stress-free and watch the playoffs without having to worry about whoever wins. I need this team to win. Like, I literally was like, I wanted to just watch the game, but I had to root for the Lions last night because I didn't want the threat of the Eagles having a chance to have a home playoff game even exist. Take that shit off the table. So now I don't have to do that no more. I can just watch the games and however they end up. Like Cowboys fans, like Law and his brother being a 49ers fan, but him there's a hate and a disdain there for the 49ers. And I think Eagles fans like LB are jealous of the 49ers, so he's probably going to root against them too. I don't give a shit if the 49ers win the Super Bowl. I honestly would root for Kyle so people can stop using that as an excuse as to not putting him as one of the best coaches in the NFL right now. Actually, I would actually enjoy seeing that happen. But the Eagles look like they didn't want it. Flat out look like they didn't want it. All the shit that we've been talking about them and being heartless and gutless, and they weren't gutless, they weren't heartless, but they were definitely not together. That did not look like a team that resolved their differences and were ready to go out and put whatever was going on aside and win. They looked like they just showed up because they had to. Same team we saw finish up the season, but worse because they only scored 9 points. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Big Money Sonny writes, Devontae balled, but it was super clear how much they missed AJ. How they make Baker look like Montana, though? Their defense really fell off. I was laughing at the beginning of the game watching them like give it up play after play after play. And I'm like, man, they are super doo-doo. Super dookie. Ew. You stink. I mean, it was nasty. Some of those missed tackles, like I would have been losing my shit if I was Washington doing that. I'd be going nuts. Nuts. Hey, Baker not as bad as you think, man. You gotta let Baker cook, man. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB once again. Baker versus the Lions, Lou. I mean, let's go, Baker. I'm torn because I don't want the Lions to win in the NFC Championship because I saw something that I was running from. So I talked about, the Lions winning their first playoff game since 91. And so that list now comes closer to Washington and their 2005 victory being their last. So normally when they show stats like that, it's the top 3 teams on that stat or the 3 worst teams. With that Lions win, it now closes that gap. And I'm like, hey, are we still good or are we in that top 3? Because I really think it's just us and the Raiders now. But the Lions have won. I don't think there's another team that hasn't won since 05. Just the Raiders was 2002. We're 05. So, I mean, we can probably do this exercise right now. We can go through all the teams. So I think that's the thing that has me just like, oh my God. But then they showed the stat that last win in the NFC Championship game, or last appearance in the NFC Championship game, rather. And of course, they're 1991, so are we. So if they remove themselves, it's just us, right? It's just us. I don't want that. Misery loves company. So I don't know how to feel, but I like what the Lions are doing. I won't lie. I really do. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, next time, I think it's double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, next time the Eagles get a ring, LB gonna have Alzheimer and he would have forgotten the first ring. LOL. I don't know about any of that. I don't wish Alzheimer's on anybody. I know you were joking, but the reality of it is I don't think they win in shit else. So I don't know when they get their next one. I don't care when they get their next one, as long as it ain't before we get our next one. And like, I haven't talked about actually winning the Super Bowl in ages. And I'm not saying that's what I'm talking about, but I don't feel as uncomfortable having that conversation anymore. I didn't even want to have that conversation because I could never see it with Daniel Snyder as our owner. I couldn't see a path to us winning the Super Bowl. So I can actually use that phrase and not feel dirty like, bro, why are you even bringing that up? That doesn't even exist in your world. They ain't winning shit. I know that much. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Lou's boss sound like Clarence at the barbershop. Hey, boss is a funny ass dude. Funny ass dude. Yeah, he would have y'all weak. Y'all may meet him one day. Nah, spare life. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Big Money Sonny writes, is Fat American really a Fat American, Lou? Where's luck been this year? On a real note, it's a new day and the optimism is real for us. I had McVay at Rams as a dark horse in the playoffs this year. McVay. So I don't think Fat American is obese. He's probably a little overweight, but he ain't obese like he tries to sell it. Okay. So I'll say that. Is he a Fat American by official definition? Sure. But he's not obese. I don't think he's obese. Where's luck been? That's a great question. I don't have any answers. But I'm still on high alert. Every unverified super chat that I get is luck. That's just how I operate. I hope everything's okay with him. Hope somebody's talked to him and knows how he's doing. But yes, I'm very optimistic and I'm looking forward to the future for this organization, for this team, for these fans. Benjamin Slate, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I kind of hope Dallas gets Belichick. AT&T will implode. No, I actually don't want them to get Belichick. I'm good on that. He's really good at what he does. And with that kind of talent, I think he could actually do some damage. No, I'm good. I pass on that. But if they didn't win with him, then it would be 2 times as funny. But Commandalorian writes, hey, Lou, feels good. Feels good. Let it be a Lions versus Texans Super Bowl, and then we get the winners OC as our head coach. I have spoken. That would be the worst rated Super Bowl in NFL history. And we would love every second of it because, as you mentioned, boy, your stock can't get much higher than that if that actually took place, which it won't. But what? That would be crazy. Absolute crazy. Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou, you're great, Lustradamus. Not sure. You're not sure about Lustradamus? It's fine. Says, NHL and Ron's playing questions that. Fair enough. You know how much Kool-Aid I drank because of you? I apologize already for my sins, okay, on multiple occasions. So I feel bad. I led a lot of people astray. So I was first, remember, keep this in mind. I was first led astray. Okay. I was never meant to be deceptive. I too was bamboozled. All right. They just used me as a tool, as a prop to spread their propaganda. No more, I say. No more. Big Money Sonny. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, you ain't gonna say nothing about smoke Newports? Question. Apologize if it's a dig, but nah. F that smoke Newport. Sorry, LB. Popcorn. Look, man. LB's my guy. I'm not gonna sit here and partake in your foolishness. That's my guy. I'm gonna hold him down. But absolutely, I'm gonna talk shit. But I'm not gonna kill him right now. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hey, Lou, you're the humblest one out of the super friends. We wouldn't be on the Eagles so much if they humbled themselves a bit. Yeah, I said that last year, though. I said Eagles they're not terrible as much as it. Look, humble isn't anything. I think we had this conversation already. I don't care about being humble because if we're good, I'm not going to be humble. Only to a certain extent. But it ain't about that. It's about not acknowledging truths, right? Things that we can all see, but you want to bury your head in the sand and act like it don't exist. Or when we having a discussion, you want to change on some sleight of hand shit. Like, don't look at us. Look over here. Y'all trash. We're not talking about us right now. We're talking about you. Yeah, we trash. You want to state the obvious? You want to do that for 15, 20 minutes? We can do that. But that's pointless. You're supposed to be the ones with Super Bowl aspirations. You're supposed to be the one that's really good. I'm telling you why you shouldn't have Super Bowl aspirations. They didn't want to hear that shit, though. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? Fat American says, man, let's get some Newport cigs in the chat. I'm going to have to go watch that LB video. I watched a little bit of Law's video. I got to watch a little bit more because shout out to my girl, Condo P. Miss Perry told me that he went on an apologize spree, essentially, I guess. And he apologized to Kellen Moore, which all he does is talk trash about Kellen Moore and Jason Garrett. I wonder if he apologized to Jason Garrett. All the trash he talked about, those two, especially Garrett. Well, he kills him every time. Red House, not Roadhouse. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red House, not Roadhouse. Writes, it feels good. Yeah. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Does feel real good. Sure feels good to me. Red House, not Roadhouse. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, double up, thank you for doubling up. Mike Tomlin, Dan Quinn, or Ben Johnson for us, Lou? Oh, it's Ben Johnson, without a doubt. Although, did y'all see Tomlin walk off the stage when asked about it? That's going to be it's going to be a lot of interesting dynamics this offseason, a lot of storylines to keep a watchful eye on. I already talked about why I think he feels the way he feels. And it's going to be funny. It's going to be fun to see how some of these situations play themselves out. Like Belichick's getting a job. It's where, right? Especially if Eagles and the Cowboys fire their head coach and you get to 10 openings. Remember somebody was like wagging their finger at me. I've heard there were supposed to be 10, 8 to 10. We only got 6. Now we might get to 10. And I said, the only way you get to 10 is if you get some surprises. Well, surprise. Look what we got. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, nah, Lou, Eagles fans are delusional on another level. Big time. You're not wrong about that. And then they love to point the finger at you. Love to point the finger at you. Zoe Life, No Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, I still don't trust Lamar, Lou. Am I hating? Go Bills. No, you ain't hating. He's got to show you in the playoffs. You're within every right to be skeptical of Lamar Jackson until he does it. You've seen this back in 2019 when he won the MVP. He eventually will win it again this year. He's the number 1 seed again. And the same thing could happen again. And we can start looking at him like that if he don't get it done. So this is a big one for Lamar. I said this very early in the season when you saw Joe Burrow was done and you saw Aaron Rodgers was done and you saw that the Chiefs weren't right on offense. I said, this is the year. And the Bills were struggling. And at that time, I said, if you can't win it this year, I don't know when else you're going to win it. I feel the same way kind of like with the Bills. If you can't get it done this year with no Burrow and a down year from Mahomes and no Rodgers, right? You can't get it done. I don't know when you're going to get it done. This is the year. This is like Giannis sneaking in 3 years ago. You better get it now when you got all these injuries. Because you won't go win a chip, bro, in Milwaukee. You won't. Better get this shit while it's there to be got. And he took advantage. Smack City, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Smack City writes, what are you looking for in the Peters presser tomorrow? I'm not looking for anything in particular. Maybe, if anything, any subtle hints or clues as to what he's going to do with the front office. And I'm pretty sure somebody will just flat out ask him. And he's not going to give you his answer. He's going to give you some standard blanket answer like, we're going to, take a look at everything in the building, not just the front office. And there's a lot of work to be done here over the next however many weeks. And, we'll have to prepare ourselves because we got, things are going to move quickly. And we got free agency and the start of the new league year and right around the corner, right after that is the draft, right? Like these things move quickly and like I expect them to say some shit like that. But I want to see his demeanor, his confidence. I want to hear why he chose Washington, why he felt like this was an attractive destination. He'll tell us all of that too. What sold him on coming to Washington because he's had other opportunities. He didn't have to take this one. and he was going to have other opportunities. He didn't have to take this one. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, wake me up. Is it 2005? Happiest I've been since. Man, we about to create some new years for you, Fat American. You need it too, bro. You need it. Bad. Fat American, thank you or Benjamin Slade, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Benjamin writes, all I'm saying, Lou, careful on your next campaign. I know. I know. I'm well aware. Well aware. Abdella, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hell no, Lou. Eagles and Cowboys, tears all day. Don't forget how Law rubbed his nose at about our Commanders or LB. Tell them what we think. Choke and joke season. It's our time now. Change, baby. Look, I'm not going to take it easy on them, right? I say do on to others as you want done to you, right? I know I don't want somebody messing with me 2 hours, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours after no game. I need time to process everything. I told you in a season in which we weren't slated to do anything, and I had higher hopes for the team than most. I mourned our season in week 7, going into week 8. I mourned our season. That was in the regular season before November or early November. Understand they're mourning a playoff season, for the Cowboys in particular, one that they thought was going to end in the Super Bowl. So I know how that shit feels. I know how I would feel. Like Bad Dog was in the group chat today at the end of the Eagles game, and he didn't say anything malicious. He was just like, hell of a weekend, fellas. That was some good football, right? And I just left it alone because that's how I operate. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to add to that. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Really appreciate you, Big Money Sonny. Y'all stupid, man. I can't with y'all. Abdella, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Abdella writes, I'm very interested in Carroll as DC. What do you first of all, some of y'all be crazy with the stuff y'all say. You really think Pete Carroll would who's been a head coach for the last 30 years, if you go all the way back to his New England Patriot days, then he went to the Jets for a year, then he went to USC, and then he came to Seattle. We talking 30 years, and you really think this man going to go back to being a coordinator? At 70-something years old? What do you think, he's Dick LeBeau? You're right. No, he wouldn't take that job. Anyway, I'm assuming DC is defensive coordinator. Not tripping, am I? Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, yo, where Alex at, Lou? I ain't seen that dude in forever. He'll be back eventually, probably around draft time or something. He does that. He goes in and out from time to time, and he'll be back around. It might even be Super Bowl. He might come back around because he's a football fan too. So we'll see. Seat got a little hot probably for him. You know how that go. Samuel Valiston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Louie, you did say in the Super Friends by MLK we will all be singing Negro spirituals, laughing my ass off. What more can I say? I be trying to warn people, man. I be knowing stuff sometimes. Not American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, can't wait to roast them. We having barbecue, fam. You too. It better be vegan. I'll be right there munching with you. Just better be vegan. You know how we do it. Anyway, that's the last super. I got one more here. Abdella, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, my bad, I'm dreaming. I just really like that Seattle defense. Let's hope we get it right this year. Yeah, come on, bro. Ain't no way Pete Carroll doing that. But I mean, you go ahead and dream all you want, brother. I'm not here to kill it, but just understand you're trying to be realistic too, right? So, like, if I'm Ron Rivera, I'm not probably taking no defensive coordinator unless I really want to be in the league. Like Jack Del Rio had to humble himself and take a defensive coordinator because if you love it, and you want to be around it again, you take whatever opportunity you can get. But some people like Rex Ryan, I shouldn't say that because I think he would take a defensive coordinator job if somebody offered it to him. But some people, they just see themselves as head coaches, and if you're not going to give me a head coaching job, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? But some dudes just want to be around ball. They love coaching, period. Been a head coach, but I don't mind going back. Like, usually you only see the ones that fail as head coaches go back to being coordinators. Once you've got a successful run, 7-8 years somewhere, ain't no way you're going back to being a coordinator. Not after that. You go somewhere and you don't make it out your first contract, but you got 4 years, you go back to being a coordinator. But if you go and you get another contract from somewhere and you stay for 7-8 years, nah, you establish yourself. Whether you won shit or not, you stay for 7-8 years. That means you did something. And more likely than not, something enough for us to feel like you should get another shot. So, yeah, that's over with. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, nah, it's full on carnivore barbecue, fam. Non-vegan day. Well, you know, then I can't rock with you, but I'll cheer you on from the sidelines. I ain't gonna stop you from crushing. I cheer you on from the sidelines, but you know I ain't fooling with it. Trying to have my stomach on fire. Anyway, I digress. That's gonna do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Wildcard Weekend Overtime. And the last game in Wildcard Weekend Overtime was a dandy. If you're a fan of the NFC East or just a fan of anybody that hates the Philadelphia Eagles, they were destroyed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 32-9. And they advanced to the divisional round where they will take on the Detroit Lions for the right to play in the NFC Championship game. Who would have thought one of these two teams, Lions or Bucs, would end up, or one of those two teams rather, would end up in the NFC Championship game before the season started. But one of them will. And so, Eagles, a lot to talk about in the offseason, man. We'll see what ends up happening, but a lot of questions, similar to how we felt after the Dallas loss. A lot of questions, not a ton of answers. We'll see. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, on the way out, yo, LB, love them Newports. I can't. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Oh, Lord have mercy. Abdallah, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Abdallah writes, do you see us poaching some good free agents? If so, who? I couldn't even have. I've looked at some free agents, and I've had some of those conversations with y'all on the ones that I did look at, but I can't tell you. You know, I don't know. I kind of got an idea what Adam Peters is going to do, but listening to him tomorrow might give me a better understanding of what he's looking to do coming in here, how he may operate. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, time will tell. We'll figure it out. Anyway, y'all get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you had a great MLK Day. I damn sure did. Shout out to the GOAT. Dr. Martin Luther King would have been 90. What did I hear? 96? I think he was born in 1929, right? April. He was shot April 4th. I used to know all of these dates. It's a damn shame. We used to have to learn their birthdays and everything. I knew when he was born. I think he was born in 1923. No, that would make it 100. He was born in 1929. I know that for fact, 1929. Anyway, I think he would have been 94 is what I heard. 94 years old. We've come a long way, but yet still have so far to go. But anyway, I digress. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Take us home, man. Good night, Lou. I'm full of content. What a day. You and me both, brother. What a weekend. What a weekend. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, yes, we petty. Clearly, Very petty. I ain't fooling with y'all. Y'all get out of here, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys next time. What a great weekend Wildcard Weekend was. Even though the game sucked ass, the results were just splendiferous. Y'all enjoy. I'll see you guys next time. God bless. Good night.